What is up, boys? It is time yet again to do something to the truck, and today we've got a cool part for once. Evil Energy has sent us their oil catch can, cheapo depot. It's like 35 bucks on Amazon, but it looks like a rock solid part. It's got tons of good reviews. Comes with a convenient little dipstick so you can check it without actually having to unscrew the bottom, so that's super cool. Labeled in and out. Nice can. I'll unscrew it here in a minute. They give you some Brillo material to put in there. I'll show you guys what to do with that. We'll load that before we put it together. Then a nice little mounting bracket with some Allen screws. They give you this little piece of stock. These two holes perfectly are drilled for these two. You can use the low side, the high side, or drill your own, whatever you want to do. They give you two different sizes of fittings. I'm not sure what these big ones are, probably 1/2 inch or maybe 5/8, but these are 3/8. And we have a LS with a truck style intake and valve covers, so that's what we got, 3/8 hose. And I'm probably going to mount it right here to the alternator bracket. It's a common spot, a lot of guys mount it there. Looks good for me, it's convenient, it's kind of out of the way, it doesn't look like crap right there, and it'll be easy to get to and empty and all that. So something I kind of already checked on was my driver's side valve cover nipple back there where the PCV valve would be is 3/8. Your nipple up here on the front of your intake manifold is also 3/8, so 3/8 is what we're going to use, which will be these. And then they supply you with this much hose. I picked up a little bit more just because 3/8 is good to have around. You ever get a vacuum leak or something like that, or a cut in a line, whatever, you got it on you, patch it up, cut a new strip and go. So that was like another 10-15 bucks on Amazon, I can't remember, not that bad. And then they include some hose clamps, some O-rings for these fittings before you put them down, the screws and nuts to bolt your mounting bracket to this. They are a 4mm Allen, and these two are also 4mm Allen, so you'll need that. And then you can do it however you want. There's sockets that have them. I've got this T-handle set, old trusty Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. And then we've got our 8mm is what I found these nuts to be. And then 1/4 inch is what these hose clamps are. So got my little trusty setup for that. And then you'll want some cutters for your hose. You don't have to use these. You can use some dikes or razor blade or whatever you want. I picked these up for like 9 bucks at Harbor Freight, and they got a lifetime warranty on them, John, so kind of a good deal. And then something optional, you're going to want some thread sealant for these fittings. I use this 565 Loctite. It's just like a liquid thread sealant. You squeeze it onto it and then thread it on, and it's just like a liquid thread sealant instead of thread tape. You can use thread tape if you want, it's up to you. And then I opted to get a little bit of thread locker out for when I bolt these up. I'm going to make sure that I put a little bit on there so that they can't come apart and this catch can can't dangle down onto the headers and try to catch on fire or whatever could happen. So let me get you guys set up on the tripod. We'll get a little time lapse going. I'm not going to bore y'all through getting this set up, but I'm going to get it cut, trimmed, drilled, whatever I want to get it to bolt this baby up right, something like this. That'll give us plenty of room to get the bottom of the can off without interfering with the power steering. Dipstick, probably go, you know, something a little on the higher side. I'll probably cut this little angled piece off, and probably gonna have to drill a new hole because these two holes don't line up with these two. I may just use one. Two would probably be better. Yada yada. But anyways, let me get y'all on a time lapse to get this John cut up and fit, and then we'll start putting it together. Alright, we got her in there. Looks good, nice and clean. Zip tied the lines up a little bit. So y'all see what I ended up doing with the bracket. I cut the little kick out part off, kind of even with the bracket that comes on the can. Not perfect, but you know. Then took a little whiz wheel and rounded the edges over so it's not sharp. Found two little bolts. Not sure if they originally went here, but I have a bucket of LS related bolts and these fit the hole, so that's what I used. I used a 1560, wait a minute, let me tell you the right thing. If you're doing a truck alternator bracket, yeah, 15/64 drill bit was perfect for those bolts. And then I had punched, basically I used this top hole and I measured like 1 3/16 to 1 1/4 inch away from center to center, and where I punched this one and drilled it, it was just a hair off. I needed it a little bit narrower, so I just used that unibit to make the hole a little bit bigger so I had more play to get the bolt started. And then showed y'all I put the Loctite on these so they'll stay together. You could flip them the other way to where the Allen heads are out, but the ends of the bolts get really close to the can, and I don't think it really makes a difference. It might look a little better the other way, but you know, then you're gonna have to probably trim the ends of the bolts off, which wouldn't be a big deal, but I didn't feel like messing with that today. And then we got our lines ran. So this is an important thing I read about several times, and it gets asked in the LS pages all the time, which way should I route my catch can? So driver's side valve cover is dirty air out. So you want that dirty air to come from the crankcase and go in to your catch can. Then this one's baffled. That's that little foil stuff you saw in there. It'll catch whatever and then send clean air out to the intake manifold up here, and I just kind of routed it through this. This is a Dorman, or not a Dorman, I think it's a TRQ. I can't remember what I got. I think it was a TRQ intake manifold because my truck manifold was busted. So it might look a little different than yours, but same idea for a truck manifold. I just kind of zip tied it to the fuel rail here. We'll keep an eye on that to make sure it's okay. If not, if it ends up getting kind of where it's pulling on these O-rings, then I'll just cut that zip tie and let it kind of float. And then it goes down right here. So you want your fresh air back into your intake manifold, and that gives it vacuum. So then you'll have your little hose that'll go from the other side of your intake to your passenger side valve cover, and that's fresh vacuum air going down into the block, and basically see that as a loop. So fresh clean air goes down into the crankcase. That dirty oil contaminated air comes up out of the driver's side, gets pulled in here through vacuum because we hooked it up this way, vacuums it into the can, and then shoves the clean air back into the intake. So it keeps that oil contaminated air out of your intake. And if you've ever broke a few LSs apart, you'll know that those intakes are lined with oil gunk, and the back side of the throttle body is always nasty, yada yada. So this was a big thing I wanted to do on this Junkyard 6.0 build. It's not brand new, but the heads are refreshed, so the heads are new and the intake's new, the throttle body's been cleaned. So basically the top end is fresh, and I want to keep it that way. So that's why we got the Evil Energy catch can in there. And that'll wrap it up. I'll leave a link to the Evil Energy catch can down below. Depending on what setup you have, the hose they sent me got me from the valve cover to here, and I cut a little bit off, but I wouldn't have had any extra to do this. And for what it's worth, this intake came with this on it, which if I would have done it, well, no matter how I would have done it, it wouldn't have reached. So buy you some extra 3/8 fuel rated hose. That way it's fuel oil rated and it won't deteriorate over time, and then should be good to go. I didn't hose clamp this end down here because it doesn't come clamped factory, and then some of you will have that little pinch type clamp back here. I didn't put anything on it. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep an eye on it. If I get a vacuum leak, then I'll put a clamp on it, but for now should be fine. So yeah, other than that, if you guys got any questions, ask them in the comments below. If you guys want to see any more on how we got to this point on this build, check out the channel, click subscribe if you're into it. We LS swapped it to 4L60, lowered it, and we have a 2015 High Country interior in here that's not quite done yet. It's been a work in progress for years. I got the door panels right here, got to get those don't fit exactly the same, so have to do some fab and stuff there, but we are real close. This and my wideband, and then after that we're pretty much ready to get tuned. So if you guys are interested in any of that, be sure to click on the channel, watch some other videos, subscribe, check it out, whatever. But other than that, peace out, be human, and we'll see y'all on the next one.